Pisces, welcome to your reading for the week of January 9th to the 15th. Let's get started for Pisces and see what messages we have for the week ahead. Now, keep in mind these are general readings and may not resonate for everyone, so make sure to check out your other placements because you could have messages in those readings as well, offering you a more full picture. Okay, my friends, let's get started for Pisces. Sun, Moon, and Rising. What is the energy around the week ahead for Pisces? Oh, we see these two cards dancing around. Unfinished Symphony and Truth Be Told coming out for you, Pisces. Let's see if there's any other messages here. Between Two Worlds, or Between Worlds, I should say. Unfinished Symphony, Truth Be Told, and Between Worlds. Interesting. We see fates on the bottom of the deck. And we see here Observer and Time to Go. So it's time to go somewhere here, Pisces. There's some experience that you've sort of taken everything you can from this experience that you're having. And so you're almost being guided to look at things from a different perspective so that you can see that, I think I've learned everything I need to learn from this. This experience has taught me, and now I'm able to move from one timeline to another. It is time for that. So you might be feeling that energy kind of coming up for you. I feel like you're ready to bring closure to something and sort of look at it and look at the truth, to really see the truth of something here that you're ready to bring closure to. Seeing that Unfinished Symphony card with Truth Be Told, it's almost like that's what sort of initiates this crossing between worlds, where you sort of realize that in order to move forward, you have to bring closure to something. And that feels like the truth for you. It's like you realize a personal truth where you see that, you can't move forward with this left undone. This Unfinished Symphony in showing up in the reversal here kind of carries this idea that when you see this card, that unfinished business in life in general can sometimes sort of cast a shadow and create this sort of self-sabotaging energy where if you continue to do something that feels like it's got to be sort of brought into a closure energy and you don't, then it can kind of feel like you're stumbling around in the dark. You're not really sure what to do because you've got to tie up these loose ends. And so there's this energy when this card appears kind of in the reverse position, this energy that suggests that, it's for your highest good to bring closure to something, and you don't have to overthink it so that you feel like you're gonna, maybe get distracted or start to procrastinate with that self-sabotaging energy when we sort of see something here that could be holding us back. So it's very interesting. It's not in your best interest to stall on this. This is sort of guiding you to take some action to bring closure to something, to tie up any loose ends, and then that way it's like you realize the truth about your current situation because you bring something to a close. As you realize the truth for that, you're going to notice that you're starting to move into a new landscape. Things are starting to shift. And I really feel like it comes because you decided to leave something in the past. You brought closure to it. You decide to leave it in the past, and that's exactly how you move on. It really feels like that's the sort of the pattern of this story that we're seeing expressed in the cards. And this Fates card on the bottom of the deck is very interesting because seeing it makes me feel like it can be difficult to understand sometimes that certain things need to be brought into closure. That can be sort of a difficult realization. And yet, in order to reach our own sort of higher path, sometimes that's exactly what we need to do. That things sometimes can pose challenges for us, but somehow those challenges can help us rise up and meet our higher selves, right? Like to greet our own destiny, as you would say, looking at this card. So the message is sort of like, hang in there. It's okay. It's going to get better after this sort of transition. And that even if you can't understand why this is necessary right now, I actually feel like you will figure out why, because the truth is going to be brought to you through closure. And so I almost wonder if there's something in terms of, almost someone's reaction, perhaps, or a situation, how it reacts and responds to you as you try to bring it into closure. But this is really a time where you come out of denial. You can't deny anymore that this can go on, right? This is very interesting, Pisces. You're bringing a close to something that, you have to look at it from a different perspective, that there's nothing left for you to learn from that experience. You've learned everything you can. And I go back to this idea of whatever was written between you and whatever this is, because it's going to be different for everyone, general reading. Whatever was written between you and this experience, this person, this event, this, memory, whatever it is, this action, this behavior, this pattern, whatever was written has been completed. It's done. You know what I mean? Like, it's been fulfilled. So now there's nothing left for you to sort of gain out of this, except that it's time to go. It's time to go. So let's jump into the tarot cards and see if we can get some more insight for Pisces on what this is. But, if you have Pisces placements in your chart and you're listening to this reading and you're thinking, oh boy, I bet you it's this, it's probably that, and if nothing's resonating for you, then maybe this isn't your reading. But there's something here that I feel like you're going to realize. It's so interesting. High Priestess in reverse. It's like right now it feels like a mystery. Like, why does my new path come at a cost of this experience, or this I was going to say interaction, but it almost feels like there's something here that you don't quite understand the true depth of it. There's something here that you haven't understood the true depth of it, or you're not allowing yourself to trust your intuition here. Like deep down you might know, yes, I know it's this has to stop, or I have to bring closure to this. And this could be very different for everyone listening. But there might be a part of you hesitating and saying, nah, that doesn't have a problem. That's no problem. I can keep going. I can still achieve this without leaving this behind. But I think you're starting to realize that that's sort of like you have to come out of that denial, because I feel like you probably have a sense of what this is, but you might have an emotional attachment to it. It could be something that, you still sort of see the benefit of in some ways, but in a lot of ways, this isn't actually serving you. And then we see that truth be told card, where we can't really deny anymore that we're not going to move forward until we get this managed. Right? We see the Ace of Wands here in reverse, which can sometimes be a signal that you're feeling a little bit pessimistic about where you're at with something, and that it's not going to go forward. I often see the Ace of Rods, when it's in reverse, as sort of a no card, a resistance card. It's like you don't want to accept that this is the truth, that in order to move forward, you have to bring something into closure. Yeah. And this Between Worlds card really does signify to me that you are changing things. You're shifting. You're changing your reality. And we see here the Ten of Cups with the Strength card. Now, the way they kind of flew out of the deck was a little bit in reverse. So to me, that says that you're going from this to this. You're going from sort of having this idea that there's no way you can possibly bring yourself to a place of emotional fulfillment, that this is a fantasy, and then it's almost like you're there. I actually feel like this could happen quite suddenly for you. Once you bring this into closure, you might sort of feel this sudden emotional fulfillment, like you've crossed over from a time where you didn't have any confidence in your ability to create something that was emotionally fulfilling, to a time where you're sitting in that emotional fulfillment, Pisces. And this 10 of Cups represents Pisces. And then all of a sudden you see that it's by your own hands that you were able to do this. So this is something that's it feels personal, on the sense of like, this is a decision that you have to make. This is some change or shift in your life that you have to decide to either bring closure to, so that you can move forward, or to continue to engage in whatever this is and feel very blocked and limited, because you'll be living sort of in between timelines, right? Like there's this opportunity for you to move into something brand new, but it involves sort of closing up or tying up loose ends when it comes to a situation that is sort of, it almost feels like you're in denial about whether or not this is actually the cause or the element that needs shifting. You know, it's interesting. Now, let's have a look at that Observer card. Looking at things from a higher perspective to gain clarity and to understand a situation by looking at it from a different perspective, by looking at it in a different way, and by examining it. Look at that, 2 of Cups. I feel like you're really sort of, as you take that higher perspective, you're getting more and more insight into yourself. You know, like it's like you're getting in touch with your higher self, and you're seeing how this can all sort of be looked at through a different perspective to bring in your highest good. And the 2 of Cups to me on this Observer card says that you're really being guided to look at this situation through the eyes of your higher self, and to see how can closing up or getting distance from this, whatever this is for you, how will that improve things for you? How will that change things for you? How will that usher in a time of emotional fulfillment and confidence? I almost feel like this, we'll see when we clarify what card comes in to clarify this, but I almost feel like for some of you this could be a pattern of behavior, almost on the lines of something that you do as a vice. It kind of takes away your power. It takes away your ability to feel empowered. And it's like once you decide to bring closure to that and you move forward, you feel incredibly empowered. And you feel incredibly able to overcome any obstacle. And I really feel like it's a time where you just have to trusting that higher guidance coming from the High Priestess, coming from your higher self, you know, really knowing something true about yourself. And there's the page, or the Knight of Cups, coming on time to go. So as you realize that it's time to go, it's almost like you step into your authenticity, like you're able to sort of be open emotionally, and you realize that, yeah, I have to go elsewhere to find what I'm looking for. I'm not going to find it here. Now, you know, it's interesting seeing all of these cards here. For some of you, this could also be a relationship, okay? This could be a relationship that you just can't let go of, even though you can sort of sense from your higher self and your intuition and your sort of feeling like this is not serving me. This is not serving me. And the truth is that I need to let it go. And that could bring in something that does serve you in the realms of relationship, looking at these cards. So, you know, it's interesting. I feel like we're seeing the King of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck, because where you're headed, Pisces, it really feels like, and that Knight of Cups, by the way, is Pisces as well. You've got a lot of Pisces cards here. But this makes me feel like you're headed into stability. You're headed into a time where you trust yourself, you rely on yourself, you feel very confident about your abilities, and it's almost like this permanent sense of stability takes on the energy of this new chapter. It really feels like it's a very stable time for you to sort of feel very prosperous and abundant, and like you're able to bring in this feeling of security for yourself, and it feels very long lasting. When I see the King of Pentacles, it feels very permanent. Same thing with that Ten of Cups. It's like you find yourself by letting go of an unfinished chapter, by letting it go and letting it be finished. You really find yourself. You're staring right at yourself, you know, and you're being open and you're expressing your feelings and your emotions, and you're not hiding anything for fear, you know what I mean? Or for this idea of feeling insecure. That is almost all part of this past cycle here. Let's clarify. I'm so curious what will come out to clarify the High Priestess. It really feels like whatever it is, it's keeping you stuck and it's burning you out. It's exhausting you in a lot of ways. Whatever this unfinished symphony is for you, it's really needing some change. And we're seeing the Knight of Swords on that card. Very interesting. So it's moving quick. You're being guided to move quick. You're being guided to go for it and to bring change to something, to bring closure and change. And you might even be feeling, let me change that. You might even be feeling like you need to go immediately. Like it almost feels like it has to happen this second. And this horse is looking like it's under distress a little bit when you look at that little horsey face. And so it's interesting. There's a lot of push for this. This is really pushing. Like this really feels like there's a lot of energy pushing you towards this ending. That's an outcome that has to happen. That you must let go of this, or you must bring closure to this. It's very, very fast, and it's very assertive, and it's because of your pursuit of excellence that you're moving quickly, because as you focus more and more on where you want to be, I think you're finding that this has to go. There is still an element of denial here, but I can't help but think that you know it. You know that something's really holding you back, or it's standing in your way. And in order to move forward, there's the King of Swords. It really does kind of feel like, you know, for some of you, that this is about being adaptable mentally about something and being strategic about where you focus, because whatever you focus on expands. And so it almost feels here, seeing all these swords, that it's for some of you, this is a belief that you have to let go of. This is something in your narrative that needs to change. And I also feel like it could be something that involves your communication, how you speak about yourself, how you speak to yourself. This is about you really sitting in your own seat of empowerment that says, I can change my thoughts and beliefs as I need to. I'm adaptable. I'm flexible. My thinking is not rigid or concrete. And I go where I feel I want the energy to expand on something. You know what I mean? Like, it's very interesting, actually, Pisces. I really feel like you're moving towards this new outcome by changing your narrative. And we see here the Queen of Cups with Justice and the King of Pentacles. Again, this time the King of Pentacles and Justice are in reverse, which says that some of the landscape that you're moving away from involves sort of this lack mentality and this victim mentality. When I see these two cards, intuitively, you know it's time to let go of this idea of thinking about things in the sense of lack, in the sense of what's missing instead of what's present, and what's infinitely available, instead of thinking about what you don't have and sitting in lack and scarcity. It's interesting. And this idea of it's not fair. So these are clues to tell us what are the limiting thoughts and beliefs that you need to sort of say goodbye to, lovingly and with gratitude, let them go. And understand that this has all been part of the journey to get you to where you're at. Seeing the Queen of Cups tells me that you will do this with love, that you won't do this with judgment or with blaming and shaming yourself. You will do this with love, and you will say, I'm not a victim, and I'm not in lack. I am abundant, I am prosperous, and things happen to serve my highest good. Even if in the moment I don't understand how it serves my highest good, I will understand it after reflection or with introspection or sometimes just with time. But it's almost like this situation is going to shift your thinking once you let it go. It's going to help you to shift your thinking away from lack and away from feeling victimized. Like, why did this happen to me? Instead of, how does this help me understand my path? What does this experience teach me about myself? And where I can make changes and be strategic, like the King of Swords. I feel like it's a moment where you're going to surrender that victim mentality and the lack mentality. Those are the two key things. And it's almost like you're going to start to rely on the idea of that you've got this. Like it's like you flip it completely from feeling like a victim where things are happening to you to feeling like the main character that makes things happen. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's shifting. You're shifting out of lack and that idea of being a victim. Now, this Two of Cups, we're seeing an Ace of Pentacles, the Seven of Swords, and the Five of Cups. So that tells me as you're gaining this new perspective and as you're aligning with yourself and seeing sort of eye to eye with your higher self, you're sort of being granted, this Ace of Pentacles. So there is this new beginning that is going to take shape when you move from one between worlds here. And it's a new beginning. I really feel like it's a new beginning for you that's very full of potential and opportunity, and it's very authentic because you're no longer living in this denial bubble where things are left undone. You've finished it. You've put a closure on that, and you did it because you know it's necessary to move forward. Now, seeing the Seven of Swords with the Five of Cups in reverse tells me that you're no longer lying to yourself. Just like we saw the truth be told, you're no longer limiting your own thoughts and beliefs because of former trauma, right? That Five of Cups. You're no longer sort of limiting or deceiving yourself into believing a false reality because of past pain, past hurt, moments in the past where you felt disappointed or let down. You're not using that anymore as fuel for this, why did this happen to me? I think if anything, now you're looking at this and saying, I almost feel like you're saying that you were resourceful and that you managed to experience something that was emotionally a letdown, but you were able to reframe it into something else instead of looking at it like, well, they hurt me and this is all because of them. That blame cycle feels like it's part of what needs to go. That it's now a time where you're like, well, that's in the past. And this is what that experience taught me about myself. And now I am leaving that in the past and I'm moving on forwards, knowing that I'm writing the next chapter. That whatever it is that I focus on will expand in the next chapter. Do you know what I mean? It's very interesting. Looking at that Knight of Cups, we see the Four of Cups. So as it's time to go and you start sort of expressing how you feel openly, there may be a part of you that's like, did I miss an opportunity? And again, I feel like whatever this is that you're letting go of, it's really hard to let go of, because even as you're about to sort of leave it behind, there's one last hesitation that says, am I sure? Am I sure I'm not missing out on something? I'm not missing an opportunity here. And I gotta say, I don't think you are. I think there's this beautiful new beginning right here. This needs your attention. Try not to get distracted by these 3 cups and focus on the new cup coming in. And then bottom of the deck, we see the Emperor. Like, I really think you're going to take the lead here, Pisces. And this isn't going to be a story about how things happen to you, but this is going to be a story about how you made things happen. Do you know what I mean? It's very empowering. The energy of this reading is very empowering. And it feels like you're really taking charge of your own narrative. You're no longer holding that vibe of lack and that victim mentality. I feel like you're letting go of both of those things. And you feel intuitively that you must, because you won't be able to move forward writing a different story and creating a different reality if you hang on to those. It's very interesting. Let's see what final guidance you will receive from this oracle deck. I think that's your card, just the one. Okay. Let's see, spring. Yeah, that's, honestly, it's really funny, because I was going to say, I kind of feel like all of this is going to move you into spring. This process here feels like it's going to be present in your readings of January, February, March. I almost feel like by the time we step into April, you will have also stepped into your new timeline. So this feels like the letting go and reorganizing and reordering things, realigning your energy is going to take until the spring. And in the spring, you will see the seeds that you've planted bloom. And they will sort of, I think it's going to show you just how much shifting this narrative has impacted things for you, Pisces. Wow. So yeah, we'll keep focusing on this, letting go, bringing closure to stuff that no longer serves you, and doing it now, taking action on it quickly, because it's time. It's time. What an interesting reading. I'm going to leave it at that for you, Pisces. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this reading has resonated for you and been helpful. If it has, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting. If you would like a personal reading, you can find the link for that in the description below. And as always, I'm sending you so much love and light, and I look forward to reading for you again soon, my friends. Take care.